Every little girl grows up dreaming about her happy ever after, but most of us don't have fairy tale scriptwriters making sure we get it. That's where the Happy Ever After show comes in. If you have been waiting for a fairy godmother to wave her magic wand and release your frustrations, create the prosperity you want, and live a life you love, then listen closely. It's time to learn how to make your own wishes come true with your host, Cassie Parks.
Hello and welcome to this episode of the Happy Ever After show. I'm your host, Cassie Parks, and I'm so glad that you are here today. I just love knowing that I get to be in your ears and spending some time with you. I get lots of people tell me, where they take me and where they listen, and I just love hearing that. And if you ever want to share, hey, this is where I listen, you can just email me, thecassieparks@gmail.com, and just tell me, where's your favorite place to listen to this show? And I love to hear the impact it has on you. So if the show is making an impact, this particular season about manifesting money, or, the season before, double your business, any of it, I would love if you went to iTunes and left a review. That just helps more people find the show. And if it's helpful for you, I always love personally to be able to help more people get introduced to things that I love. So I know you're listening because you want to welcome more money into your life without struggle so that you can build your business quicker and easier. And today we're going to talk about the process of how to manifest $10,000 in 90 days. I'm so excited because I just get so excited about this topic. I mean, I love every show, but I'm particularly excited to share with you this whole process. We've been laying the groundwork, really highlighting the things that just to become aware of. And now we're going to get, in this episode, I'm going to give you an overview, and then we're going to get into, the meat and potatoes of every topic. I'm going to break it down in further shows. And along the way, either along the way or at the end, you're going to get some stories of people who've done this, who've manifested money quickly and easily into their lives, because I believe that matters. And we'll talk about that as well today. If you are loving this season of the podcast and wanting to know how to welcome more money into your life, I would love if you went to manifest10000book.com and pre-ordered your copy of Manifest 10,000, it's coming up to its bookstore release. It's going to be in bookstores May 16th, 2017. That's the official release date. However, if you go to manifest10000book.com, put in your information and pre-order at any of your favorite retailers, we are going to send you a copy we'll send you a copy now that you can have. And then when you get your book delivered from Amazon or Books A Million, wherever you choose to order, you can give that to a friend. And I just find that's a nice, pay it forward gesture. I also find sometimes it's, when you find something cool like this, and this happened for me, so I'm speaking from my own experience, when you find a book or a process that really impacts and starts to change your life, sometimes you want to share it, but you don't want to say to a friend hey, I think you need more money, so you should read this book, right? Or, hey, I think you have some interesting money beliefs and you might want to read this book. So what I find is easier to do is just when you can gift them, and it's really easy to say hey, I got this book for free. Do you want it? Right? And if not, I'll give it to someone else. I'm happy to give it to someone else. So it just makes it easy if this process has been helpful and you have somebody that you want to share it with, but just not quite sure how to do it. Just go to manifest10000book.com, pre-order your copy so you get it, you can highlight it, you can mark it up, you can, use it as you're listening to the show. And then, you can give one away. You have one to pay it forward. It also really helps me out and helps other people find this book. That's really what you're doing by pre-ordering it. I always think of you're helping 10 more people find it. So 10 more people who are struggling to figure out how to, manage their money, bring more money in, to be abundant and have an abundance mindset. When you buy a book, my intention is you're helping 10 other people find the book. So thank you to everybody who has pre-ordered. Nikita, Christy, Margie, Lauren, Susan, just a special shout out to say thank you for your pre-orders. Keep them coming. I love sending out the books. It's so much fun. Things are just good. Things are rocking and rolling in my life. I hope they are rocking and rolling in yours. I hope this podcast is supporting you in creating, that financial vision, that financial future vision that we talked about on the last show, which is so important, and it's so interesting. I just look at like this specific spot on the mountain in front of me whenever I say financial future vision. And when you can get yourself to that place where you're like, okay, am I focused on my financial future vision, right? And you can literally start looking forward. You can notice how that's where you focus versus what's right in front of you. And when you put your focus on where you're moving toward, it just things happen easier and quicker. And we're going to talk about, the overview of the Manifest 10,000 process. Of course, that was built out of the Manifest 10K course, which, by the way, if you want to join, it's pay after you manifest. So you can go to manifest10k.com. You can join that money manifesting party and be a part of a supportive group along the way if you're loving this and you want this step by step. I was always a person who reading a book like mine is awesome and it gave me a lot of great ideas, but I wanted to know like what to do step by step. So the process is there for you at manifest10k.com if you want to take advantage. All right. Okay, let's talk about how to manifest $10,000. I was seeing what else do I want to cover? I just wanted to share, things are just rocking and rolling in my business. I hired, a new marketing person and I'm excited about that. I'm super excited about that. And, that's just the evolution of business. I always like to give a little background. And so often, I had a friend of mine ask, well, like, how did you find her? And I'm like, literally, I was stepping into my future. I was doing future self work. I was like, evaluating, making sure I'm stepping into my future self as much as possible every day and making sure I'm clear on her, right? You have to, every step forward you take in terms of your future self, you get more clarity on what that life looks like. So it's a process to keep an eye on, keep an eye on that life and really, identify those things that have become more clear to you. And so I was doing that work, randomly went on Facebook, saw a post in some group. I can't even tell you what it is, like a group I haven't been to in a long time and normally just scroll right past the post. And, she was there posting about a client. I went on, like, read her. I was like, this is my person, right? I knew from the moment I read that post, and it wasn't the words that she used. It was like, I just knew. And that's what happens when you start following that path to your future self. And, as you get bigger and you grow your business, there comes a point where you want to grow your audience bigger and bigger, and you want to do the work, right? The manifesting work, the stepping into your future self. And often that work leads you to ways to find a bigger audience. Everybody that I know who's a big name and who I hear my clients say, I want to be like them. I want to have this experience. I want to do that. They all have found ways to leverage getting a bigger audience and leverage getting themselves out there so that more people get introduced to them. And that's part of the process. So I'm just excited that that's rocking out and just excited for the way everything is unfolding in my business and excited that you're here listening. And I'm getting ready for a book launch. So fun. So, all right, let's talk about this, how to manifest $10,000 in 90 days. And again, this is an overview, and then I'm going to go through each step in a little more detail on its own specific show. So the first thing I want to talk to you about is why 90 days. And the reason 90 days is that gives you, first and foremost, that was really what, just from a business perspective and talking about following your intuition, when I set up the course, originally it just had 30 days of material, but it was like, I wanted you to practice it for 90 days and be stepping into it and allow 90 days for $10,000, for the money to show up. And the reason I did that is that, 90 days is a great amount of time to practice anything. It starts to form habits, starts to change who you are. But 90 days from a money manifesting perspective really gives time for the universe to move stuff around. It gives time for you to change your thoughts and your patterns, and it gives you time to step into that person. And it's a process, so sometimes you can do one thing and everything shifts. And I love those moments and I love those experiences, but often you need to follow the process, and you need to give it time, because there's just things that have to happen. I look back and I'm thinking right now, the story that's coming to mind is that story where I got the call like, oh, we need to send you money because we charged you too much for your house. Like, as I was working my money mindset, I always like to think about like what was going on the other side, right? So as I started lining up with my money mindset, someone had to trigger an audit. The audit had to get done, and then they, had to track me down, and then they had to call me, right? So there's all these things that had to happen, right? And so you got to allow the time in this space, for one, because sometimes there's just puzzle pieces that need to be moved around for you, right? To support what you're manifesting, what you're creating in your life, and what you're stepping into. But also, not giving yourself enough time really creates this thing that people want to jump ship, right? So 90 days, it's a good rule of thumb when you're, wanting to manifest $10,000. It's also a good rule of thumb in your business to try something for 90 days. You can't tell in a week if it's working or not, right? You can't try out all the different ways. You can't, adjust and fix it and learn, allow that 90 days to go fully into it. Because one of the things that keeps people from, I think, being successful in business, in their, their businesses, and as well as, manifesting money, is that they, what I would call jump ship too soon, right? So you start this process, you're 5 days, 10 days in, you're like, it's not working, I'm going to go do something else. You haven't given it time to work. And I always say this, the thing is, this is what I imagine happens, right? You're going in one direction, right? And so let's say that you're walking, because I'm looking at the city blocks right now, right? So you start walking, let's say down 14th, and you're walking and you say, okay, I want, I don't know, whatever it is. Let's just say I want $10,000, and stay with me in this analogy for a minute, right? So I'm going to manifest $10,000. I'm going to manifest 2 new clients, whatever. So you say that, right? So if you're, I'm speaking in Denver, right? So like if you start walking at Arapahoe downtown, I think about 6 blocks might be Wine Coop, right? Right about there. So 6 blocks away is Wine Coop. And what happens is you're like, okay, I want clients. So the universe drops your clients at Wine Coop. You're walking down 14th, they're at 14th and Wine Coop, right? And what's happening as they're moving to that location, right? To intersect with you. And so everything is moving so that you guys are going to intersect, right? Or your $10,000, right? So that whatever's bringing you the $10,000, things are you're moving forward, and things are moving, right? So in this example that I'm, intending is making sense to more than just me. You're walking down 14th, right? And so that's how you're moving forward in that direction. You're moving forward, and the universe is delivering something to you at 14th and Wine Coop because you're down that path. Like that's where you are. You're on 14th, right? It's not going to drop it at 15th or 16th or 17th or 20th or 13th or 10th because you're walking down 14th. But when you get 2 blocks in, right? So let's say you get 2 blocks in Colorado, in downtown Denver, that'd be Lawrence. If you started a Arapahoe, you get 2 blocks in, which is like you're doing your manifesting stuff, and you're like, I don't see it. It's not here, right? So abandoning ship is taking a right-hand turn and walking towards 15th, right? And then 16th. And then, but here's the thing, like the universe already put your stuff on the path to meet you at 14th and Wine Coop. All you had to do was keep moving forward. But now you've changed directions, right? And you've either gone and done another program, or in terms of business, you're like, oh, that thing isn't selling, that isn't working, that opt-in isn't, whatever. It's all wrong, right? You throw everything out versus trying to test different things, like testing, the opt-in, testing your words, testing the emails behind it, testing the ad, all this stuff. Instead of testing that and saying that, you just take a right-hand turn, right? And you're now actually moving away from where your stuff is because you're like, it's not working. I got to change directions. And so often, that 90 days is walking that 6 blocks. It's keeping moving forward in that same direction for 90 days. But so often it's like, oh, nope, it's not working when you're 2 blocks in, maybe 2 weeks, maybe that represents 2 weeks, maybe it represents a month, and you turn and you go a different direction. Your clients were waiting. They were waiting 4 blocks away. But now you are literally not even going in the opposite, like you're going in a totally different direction. And so then all the pieces have to be rearranged to try and get you what you want in the direction that you're going. But what's going to probably happen is you're at 14th and you're going to turn right and you're going to go to 16th and you're like, oh, that's not working. So then you turn right again and you start going literally in the opposite direction that your clients are, right? And the universe is trying to move everything around to deliver you people, and you're just heading in the wrong direction, right? And it's not necessarily the wrong direction. There's not a right and a wrong, but you set that intention and everything started moving towards one place so that it can converge and it can, you can meet the people you need to meet, and you can have the clients and they can find what you want to find. And you're like totally in a different area of town now, because every 2 weeks when something doesn't work, you start jumping ship or you start doing something different. And so that's why I say 90 days for this program, is that I think it takes a while as you move forward, right? The universe can deliver something, but other things are at play, right? That $10,000 that you're manifesting, there's moving parts, and you got to keep walking forward in this system and not just abandon and jump ship. So that's really why 90 days. I hope that analogy made sense both for money and for business. But I think that's what happens so often, and you're just chasing, right? And then there's something new for you, when you make that right-hand turn 6 blocks away, but you get 2 blocks in to your forward journey and you're like, oh, nope, not working. So and pretty soon you're on the entirely opposite side of town of where your clients or whatever it is that you're trying to attract is, because you just didn't stay the course, right? You didn't give it time. You didn't give the time for the connections to be made and all that. So that's really where the 90 days, it's a little bit longer explanation than I wanted to give, but I just had that visual outside my window, and I just think that's so often what happens. So, that 90 days is important, and giving yourself and saying, I am going to go all in for 90 days, right? I'm going to do this for 90 days. I'm going to work this process. This is going to be my focus. I'm not going to jump ship. I'm going to stay here. I'm going to stay in this lane. I'm going to keep moving forward down 14th Street, right? So let's talk about how you do that. So I break this course up into 3 semesters. So it's 90 days. So or trimesters, I'm sorry, not semesters. So basically each trimester is 30 days, right? So for the first 30 days, the trimester one, it's all about focus. It's all about where you put in your energy and your attention and your focus, right? And so one of the first things that you want to do is get clear about what you want. I say this a lot. Often you don't want 5 more clients to want 5 more clients, right? You're either looking because you want to help 5 more people, or you want the income that 5 clients is going to bring in. Maybe you need the income of 5 clients, right? To pay your bills, to pay your rent, your mortgage, whatever it is. Maybe you want 5 clients because you're ready for vacation, right? Whatever it is, get clear on what it is you really want, right? And, get clear about what it is. If it's 5 clients, why 5 clients, right? Is it the money? And if it's the money, awesome. So let's say 5 clients, just for easy math, was going to bring you in $10,000, right? Also ties into this. So let's say you want 5 clients, it's going to bring in $10,000. Awesome. What do you want that $10,000 for? Where's it going? Where's it going to be directed? What are you going to invest in with it? What experiences are you going to have with it? And this is important because this is how we determine where we're going to put our focus at, right? So semester 1 is all about focus. And this is the first place, is to get really clear about what we want. Otherwise, we're focusing on the wrong thing, right? So, because here's a true life example. Like if you want 5 clients, because I know what you do. If you're listening to the show, it's because you're awesome and you're helping make this world a better place. I just know that, because that's who I attract. That's who I work with. So, yeah, you want 5 clients to help people, to support their growth, to change their life, whatever it is. But let's say, you're like, I want 5 clients, it's $10,000 because, I don't know, maybe it's 3 months of rent and this and that, right? are you going to be just as happy? Like, what if the universe can deliver you one client that says, hey, I want to pay you. I don't want to do your program. I know you're who I'm supposed to work with. I want to pay you for a year because I'm that committed, right? That's $10,000. Like, is that what you want? Or did you want the experience of working with 5 clients? Either way is totally okay, but get clear about what it is you really want. Drill down as far as you can. We'll talk more about that in, the next episode about getting clear, because it's super important. And and then the next step is to identify those abundance feelings. Like, identify how you're going to feel when you have what it is you're creating, because that's going to be your guide for the next, the rest of the 90 days. And just put some focus and energy and attention and start to focus on what you want, which really takes us away from focusing on what we don't want. We talked about debt last time and how focusing on that really keeps you away from focusing on abundance. And by focusing on abundance, you naturally cease focusing on debt. And so you really want to be focused on what you want. And getting clear about what you want helps you focus more on that. When you're crystal clear, that focus becomes easier. And then really that first 30 days is about allowing money into your life. It's about celebrating every time any money shows up and really getting in the habit of celebrating and acknowledging when money is flowing into your life, because you want that to be your focus. You want your attention to be on when it's coming in, right? So then the next, 30 days to 60 days, trimester 2, you want to focus on, it's a lot about creating, right? So the first thing you want to do is you start creating from a new place. That's what I would say trimester 2 is all about. It's creating from this new place. This is the other reason this course is 90 days. I trusted my intuition in the beginning and said it was 90 days. And I don't even know, literally that was just instinctive. Like, okay, how long is it? Because it's pay after you manifest. So it's like, I'd say, okay, well, I have 30 days of content, right? 30 days of material, but it's, I want to say 90 days. And really that was following my intuition. And now as I saw the process develop, right, this is the business part. As it developed, I'm glad I trusted that because it's perfect, right? And as I made the program better, I saw why. And so semester 2 really is about creating from a new place. And this is why you need the 90 days, because that first 30 days, it's all about the focus. It's all about getting clear. It's all about turning your head towards what you want. And it's about starting that process of allowing, right? And you're building and creating the energy and momentum there, and you're growing really. When you start to focus on what you want and you start allowing and you're focused on your abundance feelings, like you're growing into this different person, and you're heightening a different awareness, right, in life and what you want, and just seeing things differently. And you're just priming yourself to see that. So that once you're seeing that and you're really acknowledging all the abundance in your life, you're focusing on what you want, you're stepping into those feelings, then some trimester 2, keep wanting to say semester, is all about creating for that new place, right? It's creating from that place. It's like climbing, instead of, creating on the prairie, it's climbing up, a hill so that you can see better. And then when you get up there and you can see better because got clear and you identified your feelings and you're focused on what you want, you can create something different because you're able to see further, right? It's like being up in my place. I can see so much more. I can see what's happening. I could make better decisions. If I was like getting ready to drive somewhere, I can see, oh, there's a traffic jam over there. I'll just take this other way, right? And traffic's flowing smoothly on Spear. I'm just going to take that to the highway, right? And that's what happens in that once you build that momentum of trimester 1 and start focusing that energy, then you can create from this new place. The problem I see a lot of people, or why I see a lot of times it doesn't work, is that people do semester 2 activities right off the bat. They start trying to create new money beliefs. They try to fix their money beliefs. They try to write their new money story. And, in my case, in this course, we talk about creating a new money persona. They do those types of activities without climbing that first hill so that they can have a better vantage point, right? So they know more, so that they're creating from a place where they're focused on abundance and they're focused on what they want, right? And so trimester 2 is all about creating from that place that you've built to, that place that you've climbed to in the past 30 days. And that's where you create your new money beliefs and your new money persona. And then that's when you start integrating that persona into your life. But it's much easier when you've created the momentum of trimester one and focusing on what you want. So after you do that, trimester three is all about stepping into that experience. So, and that's really the way that I define it. It's all about stepping into, right? And you'll often hear act as if, live as if, these types of things. And when you're at the base of the mountain, those can be harder. But when you've climbed the mountain and you can see, okay, like now I can see, now I know there's more abundance than I was seeing before, right? I can see all this abundance. I can see what I want. I see what I want coming in. And then you've created these beliefs of what you want to be and what you're stepping into. Then you know what you're stepping into. And it comes out of this energy of really creation and focus on what you want instead of, because you've taken that first trimester to focus on what you want and get clear and activate those feelings, you're creating that really in a space of moving forward instead of moving, away from something. Because whenever we're trying to manifest away from something, it doesn't work as well as when we're moving forward towards something. And just think about it, right? Like you get pulled, if you have a magnet and you're at the place that's, the traction point, how if you flip a magnet or you do it, there's a certain part that repels and a certain part that attracts, right? Like you can put that magnet and you can get pulled forward, right? Or you can put that magnet on the repel side and it's really just like keeping you at bay. And that's when you're trying to manifest away from something, that's what happens. But you get pulled when you're moving and manifesting towards something. And when you use the focus and the feelings and everything, and then the creation process to really create that and then start stepping into the experience, you're getting pulled somewhere. So that's why it's 90 days. That's where there's 3 semesters. And then there's 2 important things that I think that you want to do all the time. And you can start doing these now, if you're like, oh, I want to get the book and really go through the whole process. I want to join the course. Whatever you're like, I want to wait for the next episode to really start diving in step by step. That's fine. But here's the 2 things that you want to start doing. These are 2 of the most important things that you can do that, aid in your success, that really move that success needle for you. And the first one is to amp up your belief in what is possible. And I think that, I've seen people, and I did it, right? I spent a lot of time trying to convince myself to believe certain things were possible. That didn't work for me. Maybe you've spent a lot of time trying to convince yourself that this is possible, I can do this, like all these things, right? What I learned is that the easiest way for me to amp up my belief in what was possible was to go find stories of people that had some similarity to me. And it could just be that they wanted to change their financial future, and they did it, right? They didn't have to be a female in their 30s from Colorado, right? It's just somebody, it could have been a 70-year-old, built a business, whatever, they didn't have to be exactly, but want some of the same things that I wanted, or for the same reasons, or they could have been a female in her 20s or 30s, right? But amp up your belief in what's possible by seeking out stories about people who've already done it, right? Because part of the reason you believe what you believe now, which may or may not be supporting the money mindset that you want to have and the financial future that you want to have, part of the reason you believe that is because that's what you've seen to be true. Like you've naturally seen those stories, and that's created your beliefs. And so now you want to go seek out stories of what is possible, and that's naturally going to shift those beliefs, right? In the course, we do some work on creating beliefs and choosing our beliefs, but a lot of it, comes like osmosis, or just like soaking into something, more than consciously creating it. A lot of that belief comes from the stories, every day in the course, there's a story about how money showed up in my life. And there's a few about my friends that I really loved and made a point that I wanted to, I amped up the belief of the exercise for that day. So I used those. I could totally go through the course and put all my own stories, but there were a couple that were experiences that I really wanted to show something, and I wanted to amp up your belief. And so if you've taken the Manifest 10K course, That's why those stories are there, because it's naturally just you're soaking in these new beliefs based on the story. So one of the most important things that you can do is go seek stories of what's possible and what's similar to what you want. And you can find them. Just start looking, right? And the second thing is to celebrate early and celebrate often. You heard Karen some episodes back, right? Talk about her story and talk about her sticky note, about writing down every single amount of money that came to her, whether it was a dime or it was thousands of dollars in a new client, right? And that's one way to celebrate early and often. And that builds that when you start celebrate, whatever you celebrate, you're going to have more to celebrate. So you're building that momentum, you're building that focus. Celebrate early and often, right? And so those are two big things that I wanted to the highlight that you do. Again, we'll hit on those a lot, but that's kind of the overview of what the next episodes will be about. We're going to go in detail into each one of those things. I love talking about this stuff. Let me know how you're loving the show. thecassieparks@gmail.com. I'd love to hear from you. Or, better yet, leave a review on iTunes. And just let me know what's opening up for you. Like, what are you seeing is possible now that maybe you didn't see a couple episodes ago? Or what's possible, if you've been a fan of mine, if you've been following me for a couple of years, what do you see that's possible now that maybe you didn't see was possible a couple of years ago? I love one of my clients. I'm working on a magazine, I think I've mentioned it, that will showcase, because of this reason about this amping up your belief in what is possible. That's the reason I'm putting the magazine together, is so that you can read more stories and you can have more access to stories and you can connect with, hey, this person was afraid of that. I was afraid of this. And like, she did it, I can do it, right? So one of the stories that one of my clients, I happen to have it in front of me, I love, and you can hear me rattling papers, and I'm okay with that. So Jennifer said this quote, and I love it. "Things I formerly thought impossible now seem completely plausible. And in fact, I expect them." And the things she's talking about are a bigger bank account, traveling, just, having the life that she dreamed about. And so seeing stories and opening that up is super important. So I wanted to share that with you. Today is just a little story. Things I formerly thought impossible now seem completely plausible. That's what, changing, your focus does. And that's what, focusing on stories and celebrating, it just makes those beliefs shift on their own. It just seeps in and takes over. It's super fun. So this is a little bit longer show. Thank you for hanging out with me. I'm going to leave you with this mantra, and that is, I am on an abundant journey. Doesn't that feel good? I am on an abundant journey. So until next time, have a great week, and I'll talk to you soon.
Thanks for joining us on the Happy Ever After show, where you don't need a genie lamp to get your wishes granted. Now that you're inspired and ready to take action, get yourself on the path to your happy ever after by scheduling a complimentary strategy session at createmyhappyeverafter.com.